Hey Jazz Guitar Lifers, and welcome back to the channel. And if you're new here, welcome to you as well. A few things I want to talk about this week since my last episode, and maybe that'll be of interest to you, hopefully. The first thing is there's going to be a new interview and 5 desert island pick feature on Jazz Guitar Life soon with the wonderful cat out of New York City via France, Felix Lemerle. Lemerle is his last name. I may be butchering the pronunciation, and I apologize, Felix. If you don't know this guy, go check him out. I'll put a link below to his website. A wonderful player, young guy, probably in his late 20s, maybe early 30s, if that. Right out of the kind of Jimmy Raney school of guitar, Tal Farlow, George Barnes, those cats. Really, really melodic player, but with nice feel, nice time, nice chops. Definitely the whole package. And he also plays some beautiful vintage archtops, mostly Gibsons. Maybe he's got some more, but they're just gorgeous, gorgeous guitars. And his sound is great. And so if you're a fan of that music, then definitely check him out in the link below. Now, on Tuesday, I had a great podcast chat with another great guitar player, Dave Stryker, who maybe be not as young as Felix is, but still a really cool guy. And this is going to be his 4th podcast on Jazz Guitar Life. And just a great, great player. I talked about his new album a couple of weeks ago. This is it here. Dave Stryker, Stryker Strings Goes to the Movies, all movie themes, some great stuff. There's 11 tunes on here, and we go through each tune individually, and it's definitely a fun listen. So come on out and hang with us. I'm going to get that up there hopefully by the end of the weekend, if not the beginning of next week. But I think you'll enjoy it, so be on the lookout. Now, speaking of young cats, this guy, and I'm looking at my notes here, this guy named Ron Magril, Magril, jazz guitarist from Israel, but I think also now lives in New York City as well. Young cat as well, probably once again in his late 20s, early 30s. They seem to be making them young these days. This guy sent me an email at info@thejazzguitarlife.com asking me to basically listen to some of his stuff. And he just wanted to introduce himself. And I was blown away. He was amazing. I'll put a link below to one of the songs called Africa that I loved it. It's great. It's dynamic. There's tons of energy from all the players concerned, and of course Ron plays great. He stays away from the cliche type stuff. He's more, I guess I would say a modern jazz player, but he's not like a Kurt Rosenwinkel. He's not like an Adam Rogers. He just basically takes the tradition and beefs it up a bit. But it just blew me away. I mean, a lot of players do, and warranted, but this cat was just amazing. And so do yourself a favor, check that out. Like I said, I'll put the link below, and I think you'll really dig it. Now, speaking of chatting before, cheers. Just water, by the way, not vodka or gin. I had a great chat with Jon Raney, who is the son of the great Jimmy Raney, and of course the brother of the equally great Doug Raney. Jon Raney has graced us with 2 episodes on the Jazz Guitar Life podcast. The first one talking about Jimmy, talking about Doug, getting into the family history. We kind of more focused on Jimmy, but we did a lot of Doug as well. And then the second podcast also features more about Doug, but also about Jimmy, because Jon Raney has come out with a book. There it is, the Jimmy Raney book on Share Music Co., Share Music Publishing. And it's basically the tagline is a complete study of melodic line. So what Jon has done is Jimmy over the years had made tons of notes about, the conceptual goings on in his head about what makes a great melodic line. I don't want to say the perfect melodic line because that's subjective, but what makes a great melodic line. And so what Jon did is he put all the notes together in this book. Of course, edited some great blurbs by Dave Stryker, Randy Vincent, Jerry Bergonzi, Pete Bernstein, and Pasquale Grasso. So some really fun stuff. And the beauty of this book is that Jon doesn't take like a great line and then dissects it. He takes a mediocre line, a decent line, an okay line, but not something fantastic, and then he takes that apart and he builds on it. And he talks about what would make this line greater and greater and greater, and then he builds up the various layers of things. And Jon gets into all kinds of stuff that Jimmy had brought to the forefront of the music. Polyrhythms, harmonic dislocation, intervallic and directional variety in lines. There's polyrhythmic scale patterns, arpeggio patterns, general phrase patterns, blues-lick patterns, all under the polyrhythmic category. Displacement concepts, as mentioned, advanced asymmetry and polymetrics and recording concepts in practice. Just a whole lot of stuff. Some great lines. I got this book a few months ago, and I'm going to get more deep into it as the days and the weeks go by. I'm going to do an in-depth review, of course. And if you haven't got it, check it out. I will once again leave a link below where you can get it on the Share Music site. You can either get the digital download or you can buy a hard copy. I always prefer a hard copy because I like things tangible. I like to feel them in my hands. I like to, go through the pages and whatnot. But whatever works for you, digital copy, that's fine as well. Just a great look at an artist who was a great player and in the pantheon of jazz guitar players early on, was a force to be reckoned with, but for whatever reason, kind of lagged a little behind in the names category. So everybody talks about like Joe Pass, Barney Kessel, Tal Farlow. Jimmy Raney gets his due, but sometimes not as much as I think that he should have gotten. So let's try and bring Jimmy Raney's memory and playing back to the forefront of this music. And like I said, Jon has graciously done 2 podcasts for us, or for me, on Jazz Guitar Life, and we're going to be doing a third, and just really fun to hear reminiscences. I can't even say that word. Great fun to hear memories from Jon about his dad and his brother, who sadly are both now gone. So definitely check out the podcast. I'll leave the links below. And I was going to wrap this up a little bit, but first of all, I got in the mail yesterday Karl Latham's Living Standards 2 CD that I'm going to be reviewing soon, in the next few days probably. And I talked about this CD in last week's episode. It's great. It's got the great Mitch Stein on guitars, Mark Egan on bass, Roger Scritetto on percussion, and Wolfgang Lackerschmidt on vibraphone. I've heard an advanced digital copy of this, and it's killer. It sounds great. They take Break On Through to the Other Side by the Doors, Rock and Roll Woman, What Is and What Should Never Be by Led Zeppelin. That's a very cool interpretation of what I consider to be a classic Led Zeppelin tune. Layla, of course, you got to hear how they handle that. Magic Carpet Ride, Carry On Parts 1 and Part 2, and Mate Hudese, which I don't know what that song is, so I'm going to have to check it out. But killer stuff. The Living Standards one, of course, had Vic Juris on guitar with Mark Egan and Karl on drums. And unfortunately, as we all know, Vic passed. So he got a few more friends to help him out on Living Standards 2. And Mitch Stein on guitar really fits in nicely with the group. Of course, doesn't replace Vic, but fits in nicely nonetheless. And the last thing I wanted to talk about, and this may be a little cerebral, but so I saw a video on the Dario Strings YouTube channel, which once again I will link below. This time featuring the great guitar player. I know a lot of people may not dig him. I'm not sure, but I love him. Julian Lage, a great player in a variety of styles. Thankfully, though, he's chosen jazz to be his home style, as it were, his home base. And it's a very interesting discussion on how to prevent guitar-related injuries, which, when taken care of, could potentially make one a better player. If you know Julian, you know that he, apart from being a great guitar player, is a thinker. He comes across as a very kind of well-educated, philosophical person who reflects a lot on what he's doing. And, like I said, this video doesn't go into any kind of, how to play this, how to play that, what to play over this, but it's that other part of being a guitar player, especially a working guitar player, especially one who practices all the time, who plays all the time, who makes a living from this music, how we can continue to do so in a healthy way, mentally, psychologically, just a very interesting way of looking at how we play guitar, how the way our energies kind of get sometimes discombobulated. I'm not going to go on with it because even I sometimes go, what? But it's just it's a great and I think important video, which I'm going to rewatch a few times just so it all can sink in. So I'll leave that below as well, and hopefully you'll check that out. And that's it. I think we're done. It's a little shorter this week than it's been in the past couple of weeks. As for, Jazz Guitar Life, please drop by www.thejazzguitarlife.com. Interviews, reviews, like I said, podcasts. We're up at 26 podcasts now, featuring a lot of great players. Obviously, the interviews are, from the great players on the scene today. Some well-known players, some players who are amazing, but just for whatever reason, don't get any or enough mainstream press. So that's where I step in and I say, okay, we're going to feature you and hopefully get the word out that way. If you've got anybody you'd like to hear about on this channel or over at jazzguitarlife.com, thejazzguitarlife.com, please leave me a comment below, and I'll definitely check them all out, and we'll try to do whatever I can. It's going to be, we got a whole bunch of stuff coming up on Jazz Guitar Life, and over the next little while. So that's it. So stay tuned. Take care. Thanks for dropping by. And remember, Jazz Guitar lives at Jazz Guitar Life. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.